guys, welcome to my channel where I share how to live a happy, healthy, independent life as a quadriplegic. My name is Olivia, and today I'm going to show you how I get myself set up onto my standing frame to be able to do some work, and as well as how I've adapted it and how I transfer onto it. Okay, so let's get started. So before I set myself up onto my standing frame, I'll just give you a little bit of a lowdown why I do like to go do my work up there whenever I can, and why it's actually important to be able to stand after you have your injury. So anytime after a spinal cord injury, just because we're a little bit more wheelchair bound and we're not actually standing up and putting pressure on our bones can get quite brittle and we're more prone to osteoporosis. So it's quite important to be able to either use a standing frame as much as you can, whether you can have your own or have it in a spinal cord injury facility, or if you can have a chair that ends up like standing you up, is also a good way to be able to stand and put pressure on a bone to minimize osteoporosis. So before getting onto my standing frame, I usually go pee, just so I don't have to go pee in the middle of being up there and having to transfer. And then I usually grab one of my drinks, either my tea or my water bottle, and then I'll put that up there on the table. And then I'll grab my iPad, basically, which is what I'm going to be doing my work with. So putting that up there on the actual table. So making sure that there's 4 wheels at the bottom, that the wheels are locked, so this is not kind of wheeling around while you're transferring. And then the first time that you're actually using this, you'll have to adjust like different straps, all the area for the knee, the height of the table and everything, so it holds you up properly when you're up there. And then in terms of the actual standing frame, I ended up adapting a few things. So I can use like my head onto the table or onto certain areas to be able to transfer. So I've put a noodle around, like a pool noodle around the strap here, and then we've used some foam that we ended up taping around the table so I can use my forehead to stabilize myself while I'm transferring. Then so I have there's this lever that goes back and ends up hooking up to the chair once I'm up there. So with that, I've just used like a shoelace to hook that little lever over there, so I can like pull it once I'm on the standing frame, so I can actually pull it and set myself up. So I'll usually put this around the hook here. And then the other thing is this part, which is basically the part that comes up, to keep your knees in place. So again, I've put a string around that I'll leave towards here so I can like pull it once I'm on the actual standing frame. Then getting on to the standing frame. So as I transfer with all my other things, like I usually have a kind of block that I put at the, like below my, on the ground to level up the ground so it's easier to transfer and my foot don't end up dropping. So this is basically what I'm going to be doing here. So coming where the seat is, making sure that the side guards are up, and also this part right here that hooks up on the other side, making sure that it's like accessible for when I transfer. So I usually grab that string and put it up onto the side guard. Then I'll back up a little bit so I can grab my block and put it on the ground, so to level up the floor so it's easier to transfer. So I'll usually put it like right underneath where the foot is. And this is so like my feet don't end up dropping down onto the floor, so it just makes the transfer a little bit easier. Then setting myself up at about a 30-degree angle. And then making sure that, because I'm going to be transferring forward onto my chair, so making sure that the level of the chair is around the same level as this is going to be at the chair that's up here. And because the standing frame is a little bit higher, like I do need a transfer board to be able to transfer. So I'll put the transfer board on here while I get myself set up, bringing the block actually out a little bit more so it covers my feet. Then bringing the legs out onto my foot plate. So before I get up there, just making sure that I have everything that I need on the table. So in this case, just like my drink and my computer, but if I was gonna get some water or my phone or something else, I can make sure that I have everything there, because once I'm on the standing frame, it just takes time to transfer off and on of it. So then putting the board underneath me, so as usual, I usually cross my leg to be able to put the board underneath me. Then sliding the board underneath, bringing the leg back out. Then again, putting my hand beside my seat here and transferring forward. And then I'll use like my forehead onto the table. So this is why I've put some foam and stuff on there, so it just gives me more stability. Just because the standing frame is a little bit higher, it's gonna be hard, like maybe my arm's a little bit short, so it's gonna be hard for me to have more leverage here. So I move my hands around, and then we'll grab either like my wheel or like my side guard and push that way, so I start going onto the seat, onto the standing frame, and move my head around the foam kind of area. Then once I'm here, I can grab, using my head on the side, I can grab my feet and put them on the actual standing frame, on the foot plates there, and then pushing myself wherever I find leverage, moving my feet accordingly to get myself set up. Then once I'm on the seat, I'll bring the board and put the board on the seat. I will then slowly like shift my bum back so it's as far back as it can go. Same thing with my feet, like bringing my feet to where the heel is on the foot plate on the standing frame. Then once I'm here, I'll bring the side guard down. Still like using my head to leverage myself and have more stability. Then we'll grab the shoelace that I have for that metal part that ends up hooking up. Oh, I guess like my plant's getting cut into it. It's got a glue. Once that's here, I'll grab the strap to hook onto this thing here. And if this is like not low enough, like there's a lever where my right hand is, and I push this forward to bring it down, and then hooking this up around here. and just making sure that it's under the side guard, so the side guard stays up when you lifting yourself up. Then I usually use like those two things to push myself backwards to the back of the seat. Then we'll grab the other strap and pull this forward. And then same thing, like we'll shift my knees back. And the first time that you're using this, you might have to adjust where your knees, where this is gonna be to support your knees and stuff. So everybody's a little bit different with their size. Then going backwards, I will grab the other strap, the other like armrest, and then the lateral support, the higher lateral support. So once I'm here, just on this side, I have a lever that's gonna help me pump myself up. So once I'm set up, you just have to make sure that you have your knees set up properly, that your feet are straight, just to make sure that you don't roll your ankle or anything like that. And then that the straps are hooked on both sides. And some people, like I also have like a seat belt that I could put on. I personally don't really use that anymore just because I've been doing this for a while and I don't really fall out of the standing frame. But I mean, like if you want to put your seat belt for safety, you can do that as well. And everybody's standing frame is going to be a little bit different, so you might have to adjust your standing frame according to you. So now pumping myself up. And it's like they're hydraulic, so it's pretty easy to pump yourself up. And because you're going from a sitting position to standing, you're probably going to activate your stretch reflex. So you'll probably get some spasms coming up. And if you have a higher level of injury, like at the beginning when I first did this, I also used to get super lightheaded. So it might take a little while to be able to adjust to being able to be upright for a while. So it's always good to drink some water with some electrolytes so you have a little bit more salt in your system to not get as lightheaded. And then just going up slowly to let the body adjust with the stretch reflex. Okay, so now that I'm up here, I usually like set myself up with my drink. My iPad, and I am ready to do some work. So you take a look at the lateral as well. Sometimes I like to also like go on the armrest and like stand myself up to straighten myself up. And then I'm up here, I like to also do like some exercise. Like I have a little bit of like core that comes in when I bend one way or the other. So I actually end up doing some exercise where I bend like one way and the other, playing with rotation as well. All depends on like what function you kind of have in your body after the injury. So I like to play up here sometimes with doing some stretches and other things as well. So with going down, again, I would like close my iPad, put it on the ledge so I can grab it. Same thing with whatever drink I'm using. And then with the lever that's just on the right here, like it's like pushing it forward, but making sure that you kind of go slowly because it's going to pump you down. So don't push it forward too much. Then once you're here, pushing it a little bit more, so you're pushing this down so it's easier to unhook. And then you're going to unhook yourself over here, putting this back up to where the side guards are. bringing the side guards up so you're able to transfer, bringing the armrest up and then the other side guard. Then you're going to shift this back and making sure that you keep the string and hook it around the hook that's here, so when it goes the other way you can grab it if you need to grab it and transfer back up there. And then doing the same thing with where your knees is supported. So I'll usually grab the string that I've put on there and put it down here. Then coming back up here, same thing with transferring. I'll bring my hand underneath my knee. Or grab my board where I end up putting the rougher edge on the outside so it doesn't slide over. And grabbing underneath my leg so I can put it underneath here. And then using my forehead on the actual like padding on the standing frame, so just gives me leverage that way with having no abdominals. Then bringing my leg, I'll bring my leg out. Put my other leg onto the other side of the foot plate. Then we'll move forward a little bit, using my head as leverage. And then slowly moving forward to transfer down into the chair. Moving my hands accordingly. And because it's going like from up to down, it's easier to transfer. You just basically slide down on the board. And we'll grab underneath my knee. And then back into my chair. So I'll put the board back up on the standing frame. Tuck my legs in. Undo the brakes. Sometimes with the block, I'll actually just tuck it in underneath the foot plate so it's ready to go next time I want to use it. If I'm going to use it right after. And then I can go up here and grab my computer. As well as my drink. So I can set myself back up onto the table. And that's pretty much how I've set myself up onto the standing frame and how I transfer. So if you think anybody would benefit from something like this, please share it with them. And thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao.